Okay, and I think we're live. Let's see. Getting things all set up here. All right, I think we're good. Hey there, everybody. This is Travis, your boy, tuning in, playing some Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and hoping to answer questions concerning dungeon flippers or just talking and what have ye. So let's begin. If anyone has any issues with the sound balance between me and the game, or if anything is not quite up to snuff, do let me know so I can get that fixed as soon as possible. Uh, yeah, Pog. All right. I'm assuming everyone's a bit aware. Stark and Darken. Yeah. All right. So this is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Me and my best bud, the little owl Coo, visiting this island. Things went awry, now we're separated, and higher voice audio maybe. Yes. Let me get that fixed. Let me check my levels. I'm going to crank up the gain on this microphone. So let's see. Now I'm a little bit higher, a little bit in the yellow, but should probably be fine. Once again, though, if anything needs doing, let me know. The Ori and the Will of the Wisps, what's up? Checking all the, All right. Hey, everybody. Okay, sounds awesome. Should flip the dungeon myself. I chose this game for... Okay, I'm going to try and get this to work. All right, let's see. So, booting up Ori again. We shall see. I have my laptop with the stuff up on it. If my computer will run properly, then we'll see. Looking through the chat right now. Let's see. Today's not working on team. Lots of good questions here. Okay. So, hey, I see that OMG, we are back from JS Josh. Okay. While this is hopefully loading, my computer is struggle buggling real hard. So we'll see if it can work. But everything else, I can talk and answer questions. Okay. Oh, I think it's starting to work. Okay. In the interim, so let's see, where are questions? I'll start the game up again real quick. Now, questions about animation, the budget. Okay, I remember first seeing a while back if I was, let's see, what was it? Inspired by Dragon Goes House Hunting. Oddly enough, no, I never actually. I think it was like a year or two after I had first come up with Dungeon Flippers as a concept that I actually saw the first episode of Dragon Goes House Hunting. But I've only seen the first episode and nothing really more beyond that. A lot of other influences for Dungeon Flippers, but that is not one of them. Yeah, I'm hoping that the video won't get too laggy. I know on the playback it definitely looks pretty rough. Let's see. I wonder if I can adjust OBS from where I'm at. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, this stream's not going to work for the lag. Let me close out, because I only have one screen that works now. Rip, my 10-year-old Cintiq is dead, I guess. Cries. Let me change the bite rate for the stream before I start back up. Sorry that I'm taking so long to get set and not answering y'all's questions just yet. Output, bump that up to 6,000. apply. Okay. And now we'll open Ori back up again. Do Windows plus D and then go to OBS. Okay. That might be the way to go. Because right now, yeah, I'm working with one screen, so that might be the way to switch it. Yeah, you and me both hope that my PC hasn't exploded. It's definitely taken a big hit just now. Maybe I just wasn't meant to stream. We'll see. Okay, so that's getting opened up now. Meanwhile, I can look back at the chat. Okay, let's see. Questions about animation, the budget, your setup. How many people do you have in the thing? Okay, the budget was very small for this. I originally did a crowdfund about a year ago, where I was hoping to get $30,000. I got about $3,700. Not quite what I was hoping for. But since I can do I could do most levels of production, I just kind of took it upon myself to do a lot of the work, and kind of paid what little I was able to raise to fund for backgrounds and music and stuff. Let's see how that streams. Still a little bit chunky. Let's see. Scroll down a bit. Still too low. Set it to 12,000. All right. So Windows D. Let me give that a try. Aha. Okay. And let me adjust the settings. You're playing at 60 frames per second. Beat rate 212K. 12K. Apply. Okay. Whoop. I got to angry face. Back to happy again. Okay. All right. And back to this. Okay. Okay. Vid seems stable at the moment. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Let's see. So yes, the budget was very low, and mostly just put together through passion and a little bit of volunteer work, but I tried to do my best to pay folks who helped out. Yeah, seems like it's not quite running it or streaming at full power. Sure, I could actually just stop the stream and just do a little AMA would be fine. If specs on my PC, I'm not actually sure. It's a PC though, and it's got lots of RAM and stuff. Yeah, let me just let me do the task manager and see what's going on. It looks like my PNG tuber model might be taking up a lot of RAM. So you know what? I'll turn them off. That might be what it's doing it. I'll have no cutesy little character, but maybe it'll run better. Let's see how that does. Now the CPU is oh, that looks a lot better now. Okay. But no, my PC is like it's a beast, but it's been a beast for about 7 or 8 years, so it may just be getting a little old. Gaming PC setup, but I don't know. It's also full of files. No, the stream's yeah, the stream's going. I think it's just the PNG tuber was slowing it down. So I think we're doing a lot. I think we're getting there, folks. Okay, cool. Um, okay. Ooh, real quick, I'll ask Sarah Skilla's question about Cleveland. If he's a European-based dragon, where are his wings? Did he get asked that question often by other residents of Splendor? Oh yeah, a little bit. Well, sort of. Cleveland is a European-based dragon for sure. The reason he doesn't have wings is because in this he's a descendant of the Nidhogg, the subterranean dragon. Although I think in Norse mythology Nidhogg is described with wings, but it seems a bit silly for a dragon who lives underground to have wings. Plus, he can't fall to his doom if he has wings. So now he's a wingless dragon. Let's see. FPS for the stream is still low. Set it to 30 or 60 for better video. All right, let me give that a try. I appreciate you giving me the tech specs. Okay. Bit rate, stream, advanced. I'm not, let's see, is there a way to... I'm not actually sure where I can decide the frame rate for my stream in OBS. True, yeah, he definitely seems more like a kobold by the typical D&D standards. The both he and his mom, Cleveland and his mom, Karen, who are both dragons, they kind of just have that draconic charm where people who see them are like dragon points, like it's a little bit of a brand that they keep. Let's see, common frame per oh, I thought I found it. Output segment. Okay, output segment. Thank you. Got the kilobytes, encoder, audio, recording path. I'm not seeing a frame rate in the output segment. Will you go live tomorrow? Tomorrow I am busy, but I definitely would love to stream again if I could get it to work and not ruin my $2,000 Cintiq. But yeah, I'm not seeing a frame rate. My pronouns are he, him. All right, I really can't find the frame rate on this. Let's see, cancel. Unless, let's see, game capture, window capture, settings, properties. Let's see, part of the reason I like to show so much is because seeing the interpretations of those creatures in such casual settings. Yeah, it's definitely I love seeing these fantasy characters in their little business suits and talking like people. Sorry, Groot. Let me answer your questions. I'll just sit here on this paused screen and that'll be fine. So Groot, let's see. So the budget was only 3,700. How many people do you have in your team? There were less than 20 of us. I did most, like, all together, including the cast. So mostly just me and a few coworker friends and some friends. Let's see, how long did it take to make one frame of completed animation and 1 second to complete an animation? I'd shoot for trying to get about 20 seconds worth of animation done a week. What caused them to the main characters to be a dragon and the Manticore, respectively? Molly came first. Her design was very much kind of just piecing together, I guess, in that chimeric sense. And I was drawing her, and I was like, yes, I like this character, like the scorpion tail, the goat, like so that's why she doesn't really seem like a typical Manticore. Um, by design, but that's part of what I like about her. And then Cleveland came out as kind of trying to find the perfect foil character to kind of complement Molly's both design and personality. There were a lot of other like potential designs for who the co-star would be, from like a vampire, slimes, and stuff, but I decided to go with the dragon. Any current plans to make another episode? Yeah, no problem, Groot. Sorry for taking so long to answer your questions. Um, Current plans to make. No, yeah, 20 seconds a week. Granted, part of that's helped with the fact that I use Harmony rigs, makes things a little smoother. That way I can do the cleanup or the rough and the cleanups together. So it's a little bit, there's fewer steps involved, aside from making the rigs themselves. Current plans to make another episode. I really like what we have so far. Yes, I'm currently working on writing up episode 2, which I have a good idea of what I want it to be about. All the while, I'm kind of testing the waters of things like networks and potential crowdfunding for a second episode and stuff. So I'm taking a little slow in case my proverbial ship comes in, but I am currently writing episode 2 right now. Let's see, answering the questions. How many episodes do you have planned out? I actually wrote a whole novel a few years ago full of fun adventures that Molly and Cleveland get into. So I have a lot of character arcs, characters, story beats, themes, and plot lines that I can mix and match and pull on whenever I need to. I don't have I'm currently working on the script for episode 2, but I have a lot of lore and fun stuff to work with. Let's see. Again, I'm sure we would all be fun with the VTuber. Yes, yes. The great and powerful Fry Guy has arrived. Anything to tell us about other characters who work for the Dungeon Flippers? Yes. The broker who owns the company is Cleveland's mom, Karen, who's a big lady dragon, very loud and boisterous and aggressive, but very endearing. I like Cleveland's mom a lot, and so she is the boss. And Molly and Cleveland kind of, in a certain way, do her bidding, or at least help things move along for her. There's a secretary, is a dryad named Laurel. They have a human resources manager, a necromancer named Mort, and their lead contractor is a golem named Emma. Those are the main cast. Let's see. What is your setup, sir? Oh yes, my setup, as in like my desk, perhaps, or because right now I'm mostly just working off of my PC with a Cintiq beside it, which I can hopefully get working again. Pretty nondescript. I have my little posters and model sheets around. I might share a photo of that at some point. Let's see, what else have we got here? Show is so comfy and well done. I love it. How much does it cost for a 22-minute episode for the next episode? Ooh, it's such a sliding scale with indie stuff. Because like ideally, if everyone were paid well, a 22-minute episode would cost about $100,000. But that's very hard to get that much money for a single episode. And I'm trying to find where a good middle ground is for being able to pay my bills and the bills of others while also getting the show made. Let's see. If we have another episode, will Ace of Wands show up again, or is he a one-off? The plan was for him to be a one-off, although I do really like him, and people seem to be enjoying him, so it might be fun for him to like pop in once in a while. But he's more or less just kind of our opening client. Let's see. Molly is adorable and very gender. I love them. Oh, that's so nice. Can we have an episode every other week to enjoy? Oh, I wish. Oh, it's it took me a while to get the first one going. I'm hoping I can be a little bit quicker with the second. But it's mostly just me working away at making them. Um, let's see. Let's feel so in. Okay, let me ask some questions. Yeah, I try not to keep everyone in the dark. Let's see. I love your series. I wanted to ask if you had any inspiration from King of the Hill. Silly to show, but it gives a short fantasy version. Oh yeah, I could see that. I honestly, there was a whole in King of the Hill, there was a whole arc of Peggy being a real estate agent, and it was certainly some of my first exposure to the concept of being a real estate agent. I really enjoyed those episodes. And in general, I like King of the Hill is one of my favorite shows. I like its slice of lifeness, and such. So there's definitely a little bit of that in there in Dungeon Flippers. 100K is good for 22 minutes. Don't you think? Yeah, it's pretty plenty. No, yeah, like just doing the math of like, 22 seconds or like 20 seconds a week. And like if I were to live comfortably, I'd need like, I don't know, 1,000 a week for me as an animator making that much. And just doing the math between that, backgrounds, sound, music, compositing, the actors, like there's so many people to be involved with, and whether it's just me doing all those things with my time or the time of others, like it ends up being about that much money. There's a show that got funding for 5 minutes, and their funding was 50,000. Yeah, this is true. Like, and in general, like, I don't know if it's a compliment or not, but I tried to find good ways of being thrifty and money saving, time saving with making the pilot. Uh, let's see. Will Dungeon Flippers episode be aired on YouTube or streaming platforms like Amazon? I mean, I think being on Amazon would be pretty nifty. I am looking into perhaps reaching out to networks, which ones I'm not entirely sure just yet, but I'm kind of in the throes of scouting people to help boost Dungeon Flippers up to those high executive chairs. It would be cool. Because yeah, like I said, getting $100,000 for an episode is difficult to do when it's just me. Having a big network do those, I could actually focus on making the show instead of getting the money. Let's see. The Tifka is gonna is line kinda a fallacy. Um, Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure, but no, yeah. Just in case there was like some really tough questions that or big spoilers I didn't want to do. I kept that little clause in there that I can say no to certain questions. Heart of Titan, yeah, those guys are great. I'm very excited to see what they make with their stuff because their stuff is looking gorgeous. Are we ever gonna have a first day on the job episode? Ooh, I'd love to, because yeah, like I wrote a book of adventures, and it's more linear, where like Molly gets brought on to the team, and so there is a lot more of like her being introduced to the concept of real estate, meeting everyone one by one. Like basically, an origin episode would be so cool, and I have it kind of already planned out. It's just it would be about like a 3 episode arc, and I can't quite guarantee that just yet. Um, let's see what was next. There's a scene in the theme video where Molly and Cleveland are wearing amulets that show some figures. Is said figure trying to take control of them in that clip? That clip was from an earlier version of the pilot, where they had a client who was a Lich King named Skullgoth, who was going to steal their souls if they didn't provide him like the dungeon he wanted in 3 days. And this was the scene where when he leaves and they make the contract, they get these sigils on their chests. And this was the scene when he'd come to collect, like the sun had set on the 3rd day, and like the sigils on their chest glowed, and Skullgoth appeared to either see the finished dungeon or take their souls. Can you show an animation you made not connected to Dungeon Flippers in any way? Let's see. I probably could. Somewhere. let's see, what else have I worked on? I've worked on a fair amount of shows in my professional career. I animated on the first season of Koala Man on Hulu, and where I did a lot of the fights with the tall poppy in the first episode. That one was fun. Beyond that, let's see, for personal stuff, I'm not too sure. I may have to dig around for that at some point. I'd try to get it to work here on OBS, but like I'm afraid to touch it. Um, let's see what's next. Ooh, I gotta hit these questions faster, y'all. Posting things so quickly. Um, because like we don't know what you feel comfortable answering. AMA's work because it specifies asking leaves answering up to the AMA. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, next time I do an AMA, I'll just have it be an AMA. Just discovered Dungeon Flippers and I'm loving it. Thank you. Ooh. Whenever budgeting a series, like 1 point times YouTube animation has a history of being optimistically budgeted. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, like to make it more like to have that budget be higher. That would be a good idea. Amazon Prime might be the safest network to go with. Could be. I'm trying to think of my history with. I mean, definitely. It seems like Netflix has the worst history of that, and Disney, of course, for canceling. Well, then again, HBO Max is pretty bad with cutting their shows too. That's true. Amazon Prime's pretty good, pretty solid. It seems like. Would you ever put your show on a Kickstarter? Yeah, that's one of the options I'm thinking about. I'm kind of formulating a potential Kickstarter for episode 2. I got to work out all the numbers and get some promo stuff figured out for that. So that's one of the irons in my fire, so to speak. On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is Molly's family breakup? It's pretty bad. It quite literally tore like her home apart in it. Although her parents have kind of gotten over it, Molly's still kind of hung up on it. So it was not so much bad for folks, but Molly's still kind of upset about it. Hell of a Boss fan. No, I've only seen that original. I think the teaser for the first that they first put out. One of these days I'll need to catch up and watch those. Streaming services worry me, cancel things way too fast. Yeah, that's true. I'm very weary about them signing me up for a season and then canceling it when it's done. Yeah, cancel system. Wrote a full-on book, like a published novel. I've yet to find a proper literary agent for publishing the novel, but no, yeah, it's about like a 350 to 400 page book, all about Molly and Cleveland's many adventures in Splendor. So I got a whole bunch of fun stories to tell. Like Ace of Wands is really just the tip of the iceberg. Maybe a big project, but what if in the future you did a now hiring episode with a bunch of characters from other artists' cameos? That would be fun. I know it would be jumping the shark, but I like even just hanging out with a lot of other indie creators. If I could do some kind of interplanar warping to send Molly and Cleveland to other worlds and do real estate shenanigans, would be very silly because it would be an easy way of doing crossover episodes. And also just like, yeah, people have already started having their own like OCs for their own real estate agents in Splendor, and it would be fun if there was a bigger team of more realtors. Have you considered making comics? I do like making comics. I wouldn't be opposed to making them if things don't work out animation wise, because I've made comics in the past, and they're fun. And I think especially since people are kind of picking up what I'm laying down, I wouldn't be opposed to making a comic. Um, Remember the Inside Job 2 season, guys? It was never meant to be uploaded because it was canceled by Netflix. Yeah, I do love Inside Job a lot. It's a shame that it got canceled so quickly. Skullgirl sounds like a jerk. He would have ways of not dealing with clients that threaten them. True. Cleveland, canonically and secretly, Cleveland often keeps charms and wards to protect him. And the suits they wear have certain degrees of magical preventative defensive abilities. But sometimes it makes things more fun when an evil sorcerer casts a spell that gives you a ticking clock. It depends on what makes for a more captivating story. How much did it take to make the pilot of episode one? It took about a year to a year and a half altogether. That's mostly because I did a lot of the work myself. And admittedly, with this being my first kind of more production-y production, there were definitely some departments I could have stacked with other people to make things be a little more um, quicker, to where I could have the backgrounds be done while I'm animating or having like different phases happen earlier, so it wasn't like do all the animation, then do all the background. Having them overlap is very important for efficiency. Let's see what next. For series like Ninja Flippers, I'd like to see an episode concept about a human being their client. Ooh, yes. That would be a lot of fun. I typically try to keep the humans on the sidelines, but like it'll be a fun topic to broach. And I know like it makes me think I had an idea for I'm not a very big fan of isekai series, and I would love to kind of voice my criticisms by having them have an isekai protagonist as a client that Molly and Cleveland both despise. And that would be a human most likely. Let's see. Are the humans in Splendor capable of living in peace with monsters, or is it like Star Wars: The Forces of Evil and Owl House situation? It is a little bit. It's a fantasy world in kind of the typical sense where there's the forces of good and evil are in a constant struggle, and there's always this kind of looming, war or conflict in the background of the show. And it would definitely, it's something I try to avoid dealing with too much narratively because I feel like you kind of run out of story when you have the humans and the monsters make up. There's fun potentials for things afterwards, but I feel like it's kind of like having a will they won't they relationship get patched up or when they get married, like the show almost kind of ends. So I'm trying to kind of save that for the big finale. Ace of Wands was a perfect wizard. I love his theme song. Will we have the Queen of Cups show up with her own song too? I would love to do more tarot stuff. It'll be hard to. I don't think I can keep it going forever. I might have to be sparing with it. I won't have every episode be as explicitly tarot themed as the Ace of Wands, but I would definitely love to have Queen of Cups or characters based on certain tarot cards. Once in a while, if I have the episodes to do so. The next episode probably won't be featuring the tarot as much, though. Yes, the Rhino and the Red Bull. I hear this one being asked in a lot of videos. I have not seen it yet. I will need to at some point, though. Ooh, let's see. Howdy doodly, how is everyone? I'm doing pretty good. Sorry once again to those that I haven't that my stream's not quite streaming. Has any other indie animation groups reached out or anything like that? Because I know that within the community they are supportive of each other. Yeah, like I'm in a few indie animation circles, and we're all good friends and stuff. Like they've reached out, and I'm aware and what's the word? Cohorts, no, colleagues with a lot of other indie animation people. Perhaps could look into Glitch Productions. Not sure if they're taking new projects or not, but it's an idea. I'd heard a rumor that they might have been doing some kind of 2D stuff. I'd reached out a while back. I hadn't heard anything specifically, but no, I mean they're obviously picking up steam. Glitch is, and who knows? But I have nothing solid on that just yet. Don't. Do lady dwarves have beards in this lore? If so, does Molly get an instant points for her delightful mane? Ooh, yeah, sure. I think that sounds good. I think I've seen some really good bearded lady dwarfs, and yeah, Molly would definitely fit right in. I think with her lovely mane and goatee combo. Don't watch Elva. It's not worth it. I feel like I need to at least get my own opinion of it by watching it. Just because I feel like I've heard so many opinions both ways. Will everyone in the company get a good amount of screen time? I'm hoping for that. I really only focused on Molly and Cleveland in the pilot because in an earlier draft of it, I did include the full cast, and it just ate up like an extra 5 minutes of time and didn't really go anywhere. So I'm hoping with this new episode, which I will focus more about them actually flipping and renovating one particular dungeon, we'll see the whole cast kind of working together, and we'll get a little more screen time with everybody. I'm excited about that. I have a non-screen table and want a screen table. Please help, sir. A screen tablet. Let's see, non-screen tablet. I want a screen tablet. I'm not too sure. Oh, with Groot. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I'm hoping I'm not too far behind on the latest questions. Honestly, want to see more Cleveland. I'm thinking of the next episode being a little bit more dealing or introducing a little more of Cleveland's issues and conflicts. So it might be a little more Cleveland heavy on this next one. He's definitely plays second fiddle to Molly in the pilot for sure. I have a girl terrier with a beard, but also glorious eyelashes, and I do love seeing feminine fantasy characters with beards, fun designs, element to play with. Me too. In general, like I said, making Molly was kind of a process of feeling it out, and then just feeling very satisfied with her design, and yeah, like I really like her mix of like kind of masculine and feminine wiles. Let's see. Please answer more questions faster. Okay, geez. Let's see. I'll try to be a lightning round. Do you have a community Discord or plan on making one? I think I'll make a community Discord soon. Any inspiration from Dragon Goes House Hunting? No, I've only seen one episode, and it was a few years after it came out, or after I came up with the idea for Dungeon Flippers. Let's see. The reason I love you is because you're so real and no mask cover up, just straight with you on. Oh, thank you, Groot. I try to keep it real. Will we see the Dungeon Flippers office in the next episode? I'd love to. The secretary Dryad Laurel spends a lot of their time there, and I'd love to show that it's a renovated old watch post they've turned into their headquarters. Let's see. Did you expect the pilot to do so good? I think I was hoping it would, and I didn't expect. So best of both worlds. So besides the annoying human client, who would be the worst clients Molly and Cleveland have to deal with? Ooh, I feel like the worst client they could deal with. I feel like the Ace of Wands was so stubborn and unimaginative. I think, but at the same time, the Ace of Wands was also kind of he wasn't rude or it wasn't especially rude. I think that there are definitely some like probably of the big monster aristocracy that would probably really like be snippy and not fun to work with. Smiley face. Yay, I roped in and IRL friend. Free publicity. Oh, nice. What is the target age demographic for Dungeon Flippers? I don't know. I like to think that it's for everybody. It doesn't have any naughty words or explicit themes, but it is about adults doing adult stuff, like working and having problems. It seems like young adults like it, but also kids aren't. There's nothing in it that I think kids couldn't handle. So I'd like to say that it's for everybody. Have you reached out to any of the realty groups or organizations for support? I feel like this is a favorable take on the industry, despite their ostensibly villainous function. No, yeah, it's very true. Our real life real estate is kind of a vicious fiefdom of capitalism. And I'm definitely doing the more glitzy HGTV take on real estate. There's definitely some big heavy rollers here where I live. I definitely have thought about like what if this were the first animated HGTV show? That would be pretty cool. But no, I should try hitting up some of the local realtors. That'd be neat. Is Molly were to have a curse technique? If Molly were to have a curse technique, what would it be? If Molly were to curse somebody, what would it be? I feel, she has her vision magic, but she doesn't have a lot of magic beyond that. So maybe, I don't know if she would curse someone to have less vision than they already have. I feel like that would be a step backwards. But maybe something like that to like not be able to befuddle somebody might be a curse that she could do. Um, oh no, is the stream chat delay 5 minutes long? Oh no. Sorry about that, folks. Um, do do do. Sorry about that, Groot. Let's see. Thing in your walls. In response to Dragon Man Firebane, I imagine the only humans they interact with are all the Karens. Sure, probably. I also am interested in human-wise. Those two are kind of between human and monster realms, like witches and werewolves and stuff. Kind of go between. There's definitely some interesting middle ground between the human and monster realms. How old are the Dungeon Flippers? The Ace of Wands said he heard about them a century ago. Yeah, Cleveland's mom, Karen, started the business about 100 or 200 years ago. I think maybe about 100 years ago. Um, but it was a much more, she breaks it and then Emma the Golem fixes it, kind of cruder form of business. Cleveland kind of classed up the place a little bit. But no, they've been around a while, but their brand hasn't quite stuck yet. Me and a friend of mine became very fast fans of this, and I cannot wait for more honest. Oh, thank you, JS Josh. As a student of architecture who has all the resources and knowledge but no creativity in some instances, Ace of Wands is a very relatable character, surprisingly. Expectations are exhausting. True, yeah. As much as I'm like, I get angry with people who don't know what they want, like, being put on the spot can definitely give one a deer in the headlights situation. Let's see. I have to imagine vampire aristocrats would be Karens or Kyles. Oh yeah, vampires would be rough. And they have to be invited in to every property. Vampires would be tough to work with. And they have to like carry dirt, the soil of their homelands wherever they go. It's a lot of work. Not sure if you said or not, but are there any rivals to the duo? Yes, in the book I wrote, there was another realty firm called Demon and Damon Realty, who were demons. I liked a lot of I like the story. I think it's in the Torah that about King Solomon using demons to build his temple, and so I like the idea of demons kind of being these kind of OG real estate agents, and then being kind of upset about Karen and Cleveland and Molly like stepping in on their concept. So yes, there will be some rivals. Watched the cartoon a couple nights ago. It's really something special. Thank you, Ed Mower. Which mic are you using, sir? And please tell me the model of your Cintiq. Oh, sorry. Okay, I guess I didn't understand the question. It's a 22-inch HD Cintiq, Wacom Cintiq. And the mic I'm using is, oh, what's it called? It is, I'm gonna check. I think I can actually check this. Good mic properties. I think I've actually caught up on the questions. Oh, almost. I'm not exactly sure which mic what brand it's called. It's a, wait, grabbing the mic. It's a Rode NT1A. Excuse me, does Cleveland deliberately sound like Mr. Darn Pardo, or is that a divine coincidence? It is a bit of a coincidence. I know people keep saying Cleveland sounds like Hades from Hercules, James Woods. The actor who plays Cleveland, Casey, really enjoys doing that kind of accent, that kind of, I don't know if it's New York, if it's Brooklyn or New York. But either way, that particular accent is one he does a lot in his role playing, and he very quickly, and I chose him because he kind of had that vibe going, and it worked out really well. But no, it's purely of of Casey's own style of accents. I love Dungeon Flippers. I haven't found a show I like the vibe of it in a while due to being picky, but I love the vibes of Dungeon Flippers. Oh, thank you, Cloudy Lit Sheep. Thank you. Turning to King Solomon's demon binding into unholy real estate made me think Maybe do an IRL spit take. This is too funny. No, yeah, like in general, if you think of land acquisition and building things as in a real estate frame of mind, a lot of old myths and folklores and stuff are surprisingly real estate abound. Um, with them selling layers to and dungeons to villainous characters, are Molly and Co. technically evil as well? Or is this more of a type of monster morality thing? Yes. Molly and well, Cleveland's kind of neutral. Molly is a very good monster, but it is one of those things. She is fairly complicit in the forces of evil taking over the realm. Um, some of that is my thoughts about society and how you kind of have to earn a living, and as she's a monster, she's got to be working for the monster on the monster side of things. Um, I feel like she makes monsters less monstrous by helping them out, but no, she's there is always that kind of a little bit of the dark humor, the fact that like they are helping people who probably aren't the best for the world in a grand sense. Let's see. Let's see. Bye. I'm going to surf for now. I will return. Need to sleep in India. Oh, it's 5:30 here. Oh well, thank you again, Groot, for all your help for the tech stuff. I'll get my setup better next time if I do another stream. So bye bye, Groot. In a meta sense, animated demon media is super popular now. So a rival real estate demon company sounds like the perfect opportunity, even if it's not intentional. True, true. I didn't know when I'll introduce them, but no, yeah, there's definitely a lot of demons in the indie sphere. It seems like. So I don't know. It could be some fun opportunities there. Blessed hands. So in the intro, we saw Molly shaking hands with a fairy. Will we see Fae in the chaotic neutral interpretation, or will there be good magical creatures versus evil magical creatures? Fantasy racism. I try to avoid, or I'm hoping to avoid as much fantasy racism as possible. I think, especially with Fae, I feel because I like the classic idea of Fae being the otherrealmly kind of very powerful um, kind of wicked creatures. I think there will definitely be better and worser monsters when you get into things like elves and gnomes and such. There'll be a spectrum of good versus evil and friendly versus foe between different tribes, I suppose. Um, so I'll try to keep that grounded and good. Um, are there any other real estate based myths that you integrated into the show? Um, Let me think. Not specifically yet. I feel like the basic gist of the show, I've kind of been writing with that for a while, but I know like I was watching um the opera Das Rheingold a while back, which is a lot about like promising to pay these giants to build Valhalla for the gods, and then the gods being like, "Oh, dang, we have to pay our contractors for building our our magnificent hall. Like, why didn't we think of this?" There's a lot of really good like Norse myths that involve contractually obligated construction jobs. Um, so I'm definitely looking forward to like kind of delving into some of those myths, perhaps. Let's see. I do love good person, bad person organization dynamics. Yes, and I feel like, especially just dealing with different clients and trying to appeal to, I feel like there's something about life in there, having to work with less agreeable people and less good people as part of our jobs and living in a society that I don't want to be too preachy on, but I think it would be fun to just delve in those feelings and those moments when they come around. Um, let's see. Faye got to be chaotic neutral. True. I do. Yeah, I do love me a good trickster puck type scenario with Faye. Is it wrong that I already want a Dungeon Flippers and Acquisitions Incorporated collab? I don't know if I actually know Acquisitions Incorporated. I'd Google it, but I need to keep on these questions. I'm assuming that's another thing I'll have to look up. Let's see. What if they contracted a Kenku to program doorbells? Doorbells being magic, of course. Ooh, I do love Kenkus a lot. Thinking of that reminded me, there's a part in the book where they use a lot of harpies to like air deliver and fast travel, kind of, and moving things around. Um, Carriers, basically. But a Kenku could be good for a doorbell or a door person or a door creature, perhaps. Even though like in with magic. Das Reinen, Das Rheingold. Yeah. Let's see. In the series pilot, or is the series pilot based on, or at least how you say, inspired? Oh, Dragon Goes House Hunting. No, I've only seen one episode, and it was a good deal after coming up with the idea. So Dragon Goes House Hunting is oddly enough not an influence for Dungeon Flippers. How many furries do you think will, let's see, attaching the future? Will you, let's see, attaching the future? I want to know what you think of them since they have a bad reputation due to acquisitions on the internet. I don't know. I'm not too deep into the fur, so to speak. But I do know that they are definitely enjoying Dungeon Flippers so far. I have no beef with the furries thus far. So I don't know. They seem to be, yeah, they seem to be fans. So that's good for me so far. And this, I guess, the Scalies too with Cleveland. Would the Dungeon Flippers ever refuse a client? I feel like Cleveland would probably want to work with anyone that was offering to pay. I feel like his mom Karen might have some old grudges where like there might be some people that she just personally doesn't like and will just refuse service. But I think Molly and Cleveland are a little more flexible in trying to be accommodating to certain clients. Let's see. Will the monsters in the series only be European, Scandinavian, or based on other creatures from like Japan, Australia, or Peru? I definitely would like to. It's one of those things where like I want to include them, but I also don't want to do a bad job of portraying other cultures. So it's something I want to do, but I want to tread very cautiously and kind of build up at least a good base ground of Splendor's own monster types, which I guess are very European before I branch out too much. But it would definitely be cool, like to see some like Asian style dragons or some other like yokais and other creatures. But yeah, like I said, I like to tread cautiously and make sure I do a good job of portraying those cultures before I jump into willy-nilly. What is the legality flipping a sentient dungeon? Will they ever discover it and have problems flipping it? I'd say so. I could imagine that going a number of different ways. Whether or not, I guess, like a monster house situation of a sentient place. I would I would hope that it would be a consensual flipping, that the house would want to be renovated. Otherwise, that would be a bit rude to the dungeon. So they would probably have to get the dungeon's permission to flip it in that case. Um, Otherwise, it would just be a real mess to work with. I imagine rooms could crush you instantly or do other strange and bizarre things. Um, I guess that's how I think about that. How big of a Dungeons and Dragons influence will there be? I do like D&D a lot, and playing D&D was a lot of the influence for Dungeon Flippers. Just imagining sitting in those dank and murky dungeons and the various monsters who call those places home was definitely a big influence. I'm already breaking a lot of rules with Cleveland, particularly not following the dragon rules. He's blue but breathes fire. He doesn't have wings. But I think having the holders and it's like, a bag of holding and certain elements of D&D would be fun. Obviously, Splendor isn't Faerun, so some of the lore and landscapes are different, but like it's a key part of the fantasy experience these days. So there'll definitely be plenty of Dungeons and Dragons influences. How will these series discuss mimics, if at all? I'd love to do mimic stuff. House full of mimics. Everything is a mimic. there's lots of fun things to do with those. So I would love to do to do some mimic stuff. I'm trying to think of how they would. It would, I guess it would depend on how sentient a mimic would be, whether or not you could have a mimic as a client and ask the mimic what it wants. There could be some grounds for some communication with it, or perhaps using it as decoration or as a decor. I don't know, good fun things to think about. Oh god, just checked. There is a rule already. Oh yeah, yes. Let's see. As long as you don't do Milan 2020, well, yeah, I'll try to avoid that. So like they find a tiramisu or giant Alaskan bullworm. A giant Alaskan bullworm would be fun. Uh, enjoy your amazing D&D style storytelling. Keep it on, mate. Will we see Cleveland's house soon in this series? Cleveland lives in the coffers of the Dungeon Flipper's office, but he has a little room, and that would be fun to see. Little closet of riches that he likes to sleep on. Let's see. How big is the world in your story? Since you mentioned different races in a different question, it's fairly. After writing the book, I drew a map of Splendor. Although I'm a little bit embarrassed that it looks a little bit too close to Tolkien's Middle Earth, but that's kind of the scale of size that I have envisioned right now is fairly Middle Earth sized, or at least the continent of the events of Lord of the Rings. So a fair bit of land to work with. Let's see. So like, let's see, who are the antagonists? Like in the Modern Family, there was an agent always trying to trick the dad out of the house and sales. Let's see. A lot of it, the conflict and villain. Let's see. Wait, try and find the question again. Antagonists. Yeah, the antagonists are kind of unusual in this, in that a lot of them are kind of the clients they're working with. That they are literal monster clients that need to be either appeased or won over. There's also a lot of there is a big bad evil guy in Splendor, like the grand overlord of all monsters, who's kind of pushing this war in the realms that's not great. But also like if you're a monster, what you gonna do? So there's definitely themes of like certain people in power who are abusing and kind of manipulating the realm, and what does one do in that, and how does one stay alive in a war-torn fantasy realm and still make a living and find a home for themselves. So there's not a reoccurring like mustache twirling villains per se, but it's kind of like an overall finding one's way in the world. Hard to say, but yeah, there's some bad guys. I take it this will be a slice of life show, eh? A little bit. There's definitely, I do have plans, some some drama, but I do really enjoy the more pleasant aspects of the world and the show as well. So I'm hoping to be a good balance of pleasantness, but also excitement. I gotta answer these questions a little bit faster. Once again, for whoever's been joining in, sorry for the stream itself not being very visually fun to look at. Let's see. Slice of Life show. I immediately read it as your D&D homegrown setting because I'm biased. Oh, nice. Squatters, do you think that's too controversial to make jokes about? I mean, I think because I'm trying to have a certain degree of rules about land ownership, but I feel like with a dungeon, you're going to have people or creatures and things living in there that you might not know about. So there's probably going to be a fair amount of like, oh, look in the basement. Turns out there's a merman down there. But it'll be kind of treated fun, and I don't want to make too much of a statement about that. But there's bound to be things lurking in the walls. Do you want it to stay indie, or would getting a deal or funding? Would I consider it? I would, especially since I'm struggling to find enough funds to produce more episodes. The idea of getting it picked up would be really nice. but I really don't want to sacrifice my control over the show, or like I don't want to have to make a bunch of changes to make it fit to a network standard. So I'm seeking out those venues, but I'm treading very cautiously. Whoa. Oh dang, I gotta be faster on these. Sorry about that. Let's see. I want to make sure I answer everyone's questions. Squatters, sentient mimics sound cool and largely unused elsewhere. True. I think that there's grounds for sentient mimics. I can imagine mind flayers or whatever the equivalent of them using mind control and trying to skimp on pay. Oh, for sure. I think yeah, mind flayers would be very tricky to work with, and would probably be very demanding on strange squid-shaped houses. You can always just reach out to schools, universities, and stuff. Even embassies for help with cultural sensitivity. True, yeah. I'll definitely reach out to that and people who know, and I want to make sure that yeah that everything's up to snuff there. So good idea. Cleveland lives in the office. Is he a workaholic? Yes, Cleveland is very much a workaholic. He avoids. He has no hobbies beyond working. Hi, Angie Dibujos. Let's see. Or Angie Dibujos. Let's see. Do the dungeon flippers have policies on what realms they can and will deal with? I imagine they might want rules to say no astral planes and tangible only. Yes, I've been kind of thinking into the lore, and there definitely have been placed some rules on the Dungeon Flippers company from bad things that Cleveland's mom has done in the past, that they are kind of limited to the planes that they're on, using astral planes mostly for research and communication. So they're a little bit bound at the moment, because dealing with real estate can kind of mess up the threads of fate and things. So there's certain rules there. Does Cleveland have a dragon hoard? Maybe not specifically money, but anything he hoards. It's mostly gold and tea. He does like tea. But it's pretty modest. And honestly, the Dungeon Flippers coffers themselves aren't particularly loaded with gold. So these a fairly modest hoard for a dragon. Let's see, maybe office supplies. Oh, office supplies would be fun. To hoard coffee or something like that. I know he doesn't seem like the kind of guy. Yeah, he's a little more of a tea person. But no, yeah. And sorry for the delay on these. I know y'all having fun. Let's see. Have they used too many explosives? Let's see. I think it's really fun for them to flip a haunted house, though I don't know whether the ghosts would be clients or obstacles. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of. I imagine in the past, like Cleveland and Molly may have like flipped and renovated a place, not knowing that the spirits were still very much present and been hit by a few curses or whatnot. So they have to make sure and do the research to know whether or not the spirits residing in the house are down for being their place being sold. I mean, I guess that's kind of what Beetlejuice is about. It's very much a dungeon flipper scenario, isn't it? If Molly and Cleveland are realty agents, are you going to touch upon who builds some of these dungeons? Union conflicts would be a fun idea to play with. Yes. One of the main characters is a golem woman named Emma, who is their head contractor. And I kind of like to think of her as the champion of workers, because she's very much like, nope, we're not going to do that like without being paid. Like, we aren't going to break down this wall because it's load bearing. She's definitely a character who's not going to do things that aren't up to code, and that can be a challenge that Molly and Cleveland sometimes have to run into. And stuff. Let's see. A good thing about the concept of this show is that you aren't restrained to following strict set storyline and can have the freedom in what you make. True. Yeah, like there's definitely, and like they're called the dungeon flippers, and I know they don't flip a dungeon in the first episode, but like there's a lot of room for buying, selling, renovating, or like just dealing with fantasy things. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility on what the show can actually contain within a given episode. For some reason, Molly gives me the vibes of being really good with monster kids. Maybe a great big sister. Yes, yes, Molly is very sweet, and I think she would be very good with kids. I'm an absolute sucker for slice of life, lol. No, yeah, me too. Like, and I think there needs to be more slice of life fantasy stuff, so I'm down for that. Let's see. YouTube Bob says sup. Please do an episode with a giant. I'd love to do an episode with a giant. Either, yeah, something with a giant. I'm totally here for it. So would there be clients like demigods, small gods looking to live on the physical plane? I think that would be a lot of fun. Having it's like the idea of like a god living in like a temple, perhaps that's worshipped to it, or if they wanted to build like an Olympus type scenario on top of a mountain, dealing with these like larger than life characters would be a lot of fun. So I'm down for some demigods as clients. I think that would be a lot of fun. One of my favorite little moments from the pilot was Cleveland scratching the wall and the spirits come out. Yeah, I like that part too. Well, just brimming with ghosts and spirits. Brass tacks. How is this going to be different than a good one-off parody of a daytime TV fad? Arching plots, plot continuity, some form of stakes. Yes, I have character arcs in mind. There's a lot of fun ebbs and flows with characters and plot lines. Like, the idea is that ideally, there'll always be the baseline of the job and the task at hand. But always through it, there'll be Molly and Cleveland working through some kind of issue outside of work. Here in the pilot, it's mostly just introducing Molly trying to rebuild her family dungeon, but the idea that they're always working, but also secretly trying to like work out their own lives, and also be in a fantasy world where big fantasy shenanigans can happen. No, yeah, I think there's like I'd love to have a good balance of both of those. What's the level or mythology that will be canonically real to this world? Because of there's creatures, gods made in mythos that would have to be explained. Maybe they worship their gods. True. I know with the book I wrote, there wasn't too many gods. It was mostly just really big, bad, evil monsters, and the gods didn't interfere too much. But I think there's also mentionings of cults, so like there could be some things that they worship and things. So there's definitely a lot of good potential that I need to probably flesh out soon. Let's see. This is a great premise. I can't wait for more. Do you plan on being more of a family-friendly show, or will you have more adult themes in the future? I do enjoy the constraints of more PG-ish type shows. I feel that makes it a little more open for people to enjoy, not having to worry about explicit things. And I feel like you can still tell mature stories without having to resort to like cursing and over the top sex and violence. So I'm trying to keep things fairly, if nothing else, PG-13, and still tell some good stories about living as an adult in this world of ours, or I guess their world. Let's see. Comments. Let's see. If Dungeon Flippers wants to beat the Demon Company, they should partner with Angels, unless that's cheating. I feel like the Angels in that scenario might be too good, or like they might look down on Molly and Cleveland and the monsters. Although I guess they'd be working together to defeat demons. You could probably there might be something there. It'd be a hard sell for them, I think. I feel like they'd probably want to the Angels might want to do it themselves. Is there going to be an episode about trying to sell a house in a village? I do like the idea of Molly and Cleveland scuttling sneakily through a human village and trying to like work within the constraints while not being seen. I think that would be a lot of fun. New subscriber. I know things can change on a whim. Projects always take longer than you predict, but even though I would happily wait a long time for episode 1, what's the time scale looking like? Still a bit, or the pilot just came out a few weeks ago. I'm currently working on the script for another episode, but I'm also doing a lot of businessy things and trying to reach out to people and find funding for the episode. So it may be a little while, but I am like keeping the writing going. Gonna work on polishing up some new rigs and hopefully boarding and just try to keep chugging along with the next episode. I'd like it to take less than a year though this time, ideally. But I don't have a specific release date for another episode just yet. But I'm working on it. Hi, I just finished the first episode. Fantastic work. Thank you. Right on. How would Molly and Cleveland handle dungeons made solely for creatures with gills? You know, the typical flooded dungeon or merman fortress. I know, like, I haven't canonized it yet, but I always like the idea of Molly struggling to learn how to swim, perhaps. Um, so they might have to either do some spells or magic to breathe water, or perhaps get in a big bubble or a suit. It would definitely be a challenge for them. Um, but I think that's also a lot of fun because there's so many good ideas for like an underwater dungeon. Um, that it may have to like find a good middle person to help them out dealing with breathing underwater. Let's see, lots of marble floors. So you know, one of the Ace of Wands potential houses was clock tower in the middle of the city. True. Originally I was thinking of that as being a monster town, although it's not quite super monstrous looking. So maybe in that case they did sneak in out of sight or wore a big cloak so they could sneak into the clock tower. Molly struggling to learn how to swim sounds adorable. Yeah, I feel like it's just a good little challenge for her to overcome. Will the rest of the cast be introduced in the next episode, like The Office or Parks and Recs? If not, will they be introduced slowly throughout the future? I know for sure I want to introduce Cleveland's mom, Laurel the secretary, and Emma the golem uh, contractor. The human resources manager Mort. I haven't quite figured out how to work them into the next episode just yet. Um, and I know in the book there's a whole bit about them hiring them as a human resources manager. So them I'm undecided on, but we'll definitely see a lot more of the cast in the next episode. Let's see. Ooh, more questions. Doo-doo. How will you make this feel different from the Adventure Time setting? Ooh, I know. I think both me and the Adventure Time are both fairly soft world building type fantasy shows. Um, I'm not planning on doing any of the kind of post-apocalyptic stuff, and trying to incorporate more mythic elements as opposed to the kind of more sci-fi things that Adventure Time gets into. Um, so there'll be some differences, I think. Will there be any off added employees? Maybe they need help there, particularly for some reason. Yeah, I think what's the word? Deputizing, deputizing real estate agents that are of particular needs, like someone who could fly or swim underwater. I think that would be a lot of fun working with that. So I think yeah, one-off real estate agents would be a fun idea. Not really a question, but just letting you know, I fell in love with the show immediately. I hope you and the rest of the team continue to have fun making it. Thank you, Bulldozer. Can monsters put on human disguises? Well, I know, like in Dungeons and Dragons, there's like the alter self and disguise self spells, um, which could have some fun effect. I think I would like for it to be a fairly advanced spell that would make things difficult and have a little more risk and fun involved with it. But I think that could definitely be a fun angle to work with. I like the idea of Molly and Cleveland disguising themselves as humans, perhaps magically, to blend in. But they might need like a special amulet or a spell that lasts a very short amount of time. Humanoid resources. Um, yes. The joke, the kind of surface level joke, is that Mort, the human resources manager, is a necromancer, so they provide the human resources of like they can bring to life a bunch of skeletons, but also they do like the payroll, and you have to talk to them if you have any complaints with management. Let's see. Ooh. So romance, yay or nay? Yes, there are. I've got some romance threads in mind, so there will be some of that. What's the name of the book you're discussing, and where can we get it? Yes, for it was a few years ago. There's the National Novel Writing Month Challenge, NaNoWriMo, and I decided to take a crack at making a fantasy novel of Dungeon Flippers. It has not been published, and I'm still on the lookout for a literary agent. But I'm thinking, if all else fails, I might try to get it self-published, and stuff. Right now, it's kind of my pseudo lore pitch Bible reference guide for the Splendor and all the adventures that happen in there. But of course, obviously, if I released it now, it would give away a lot of spoilers. But the possibility of self-publishing, there may be. Will you get more Molly past? Yes, most certainly. I'd love to show more of her background and her years getting to this point. How will you introduce elder gods? Will they be portrayed managers or shareholders in this universe? Yes, I kind of like. I like or I guess much like a lot of different mythos, I like the idea of there being multiplanar elder gods who do the orderly things, but then there's also the more chaotic ones. Very powerful, very scary. Either way, um, um, I definitely want them to be introduced and shown as being very terrifying. Would be a lot of fun. Let's see. Will we see adventurers? Are they good guys in this setting or not? Let's see. Have you ever read Nodwick? They made the Dungeon and Realty joke a few times. Oh, I have not read Nodwick, but I want to look it up now. I'll have to check it. But no, adventurers for the most part for the dungeon flippers are not good things. They're a bit of pests that are break into houses and steal all their stuff. And there's a lot of the reason for traps to be employed in dungeons to deal with the adventuring problems, the adventurers' problems that they have to deal with. Which will be fun to see, like an adventuring party as being kind of a rascally bunch of pests. I just watched and I'm in love, so I got excited when I saw y'all are live. Oh, thanks, Lucinda Blue. Sorry that the gaming stream part is not much to look at, but I'm having fun answering the questions, so I'm hoping you're having a decent time. OMG Universe Shareholders. I do like that too. The Universe Shareholders makes me think of in Terry Pratchett's Discworld, there's the auditors of the universe that are kind of these very scary auditors of reality that will cancel your existence if it's not functional or not working properly. Do Molly and Cleveland have any fears? If so, is that going to come up in one of the houses they try to sell and be around said fear or a place that brings them to life? Ooh, I love that idea. I especially just love it when one's fears become visible or active from a place. So I definitely would love to tap into it. I know like Molly's fears are fairly. She doesn't like conflict very much, and she gets kind of scared with people who are aggressive, which is hard for a monster, I suppose. And Cleveland's fears are more about just he's afraid of being introspective. So they're very abstract fears. But I bet they're afraid of other things like, I'd say spiders. They're not afraid of spiders. They've got some fears though. I need to look into their fears, and find ways of exploiting that for narrative. Ooh, lots of questions. Okay, let me speed up. Let's see. I would imagine some of the former clients would be an angel or an angle. Former clients would be an angle they could work with if they needed something specific. This could be an angle. Former clients would be an angle they could work with if they needed something specific. Yeah, like asking former clients to help out for things, definitely. I need a Molly human disguise in my life. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'll have to sketch one of those up. Anyways, actual question. Since the show based off mythical creatures, will there be a Cerberus-like creature? I think that would be fun. I know, like, Cerberus, typically the, like, watchdog of hell and stuff. I definitely know I need to iron out how anthropomorphic all of the monsters are, because I feel like I don't want to make everybody standing on hind legs, including Cerberus. I feel like Cerberus would do well on all fours, but I would love to see a Cerberus in the show for sure. Will we get more coworkers? Yes, we'll get more coworkers next episode for sure. Um, Secretary and the contractor. Let's see. Do you see yourself having um, improved initiative or simply rolling with advantage? Let's see. Rolling with advantage. I mean, I guess if we're talking about like production wise, I do feel like I think just improved initiative as opposed to rolling with advantage. Like a dungeon on the border between the living world and the realm of the dead. Sounds real confusing when the metaphysical red tape. No, yes, for sure. Having a house, having a house on the river Styx definitely has some interesting legal and ideas. How long would you have the lease for and the mortgage? I don't know. There's some fun ideas in there. I like that idea. I know D&D sometimes has dinosaurs. Would you consider adding prehistoric creatures? Could the clients or just the background animals? But I like the idea of a pterosaur trying to find a beautiful beachfront. Ooh, the idea of a lush, jungly beachfront and some dinosaurs. Ooh, I hadn't thought about adding them, but that would be fun, especially if they ever like visited places that are well beyond the reaches of splendor. Like if they go very far south and found a race of dinosaurs. That would be pretty cool. It wouldn't be something I think I would have very soon, but it is a fun idea. Firebane, no, no, no. So, oh, just like a big dog creature. Oh yeah, I think a big dog creature would be good. Neon Zune, hi! Ah yes, dog. So good. What do you think of the idea of scam artist real estate to use giant mimics disguised as houses who eat the residents after they pay for it and move in? Ooh, I could definitely see that being a problem. That might be a fun idea for like a. I mentioned the Demon Realty Company, but I feel like this would be just like a goblin who tricks people and like they're just like, oh dang, it's Steve. Steve with his mimics um, is back again. Like, don't fall for this guy. That's a lot of fun. Puppies are absolutely adorable. Yes. Goblin cleanup. Look it up. Get in on that market synergy, bro. Ooh, yeah, goblin cleanup for sure. I also like the idea of like slimes cleaning out moats and using a lot of their uh skills. In general, monsters have skills that can be used, put to good use. Um, Will Cleveland be getting wing implants? Are they transitioning to land lizard? Just curious. I think I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but let's see. Cleveland, lore-wise, he's a descendant from the Nidhogg, or tongue-tied. He comes from a lot of subterranean dragons, so thus I kind of just decided that he'd be better off without wings. Um, but maybe he gets a certain degree of wing envy and builds some gliders on his back at some point would be fun. Will there be any rival dungeon real estate agents? Yes, I talked earlier about the idea of Demon and Damon Realty, a pair of demons who um, are kind of the old school, like building ancient temples and stuff, and they're kind of have a little bit of a rivalry with the dungeon flippers. Imagine if dog-like creature ends up sleeping on something like Snoopy. Oh, sleeping on top of the doghouse. That could be a lot of fun. Or like if Cerberus were guarding like the gates of hell, they could sleep on top of the archway to the door or something. Will there be an alternate universe of Molly and Cleveland doing house flippers for '90s villains? That'd be fun. I think there's some good potential for some alternate universe type goings on. I think there's definitely some room for that. Uh, that's just Florida. um, let's see, gaming. You mean comic book villains? Let's see. I forget what this is in reference to. With comic book villains, but there should be some villains around. Let's see. Will you be looking up for more unique monsters from other myths and folklore? For sure. Like I think I mentioned earlier how I'm kind of cautious appropriating too quickly, too fast with other cultures' creatures. But as far as like in the European tradition, yeah, like I'm always a big fan of mythical creatures. So finding fun ways to incorporate and imagine them in this scenario is definitely I would love to do that. Let's see, BRB. Steve with his affordable mansions popping up on the market. Yes, now these affordable mansions right here. Don't ask questions. Just go walk in the door. Um, I do mean those types of villains. Yes, yes. Gaming sounds funky. Let's see. I just thought of human Molly's human form have a beard, so she has to tell humans that one of her parents are dwarves. Oh, that'd be fun. It'd also be like that combined with if she kept her tall height but had a beard, where she's like, "Ah, I'm half. My mom was very tall, a very tall human, and my dad was a dwarf. That's why I'm 7 foot tall and have a beard." Wing Envy, yes, classy Wing Envy would be Cleveland's jam. I think, yeah, that'd be fun. DJ Clark Production, how's it going? Going pretty good. Oh dang, it's been like an hour and a half since I started. So Cleveland's Spike, Cleveland's like Spike, just sprouts wings one day because he believes. Also, nice idea, folks. Yeah, in general, like y'all are coming at me with a lot of really fun and clever ideas. Uh, Definitely giving me some really good food for thought. No, yeah, it's like all really good stuff. I'm loving all your questions. Um, let's see what's happening so far. Yo, what up? I don't know how far behind I am with the lag and stuff. Let's see. So what would a fantasy homeowner association be like? Too real to add, or funny commentary? Ooh, no, yeah, I like because I know a lot of the stories and stuff I've had. It's been very much like one monster, one dungeon. But a lot of times, in like games and stuff, like there's a lot of monsters living in one dungeon, and I feel like the boss of that dungeon would probably very much like the HOA and say, no, you can't put this in your house. You can't decorate your door with all these things. I need to come up with a clever acronym for what the HOA would be in Dungeon Flippers. Because no, yeah, I do like. I would love to make fun of how brutal HOAs can be in fantasy form. Let's see, nothing right now. My favorite part of Dungeon Flippers is when the dungeon gets flipped. I mean, me too. I know we don't do much. There's not much flipping done in the pilot episode, but what I have in mind for the second episode will definitely be flip focused. Glad to be here. Love Dungeon Flippers. Oh, Dreamark, I know you. I'm back. Let's see. You're pretty caught up. Not much lag. Okay, that's comforting. Let's see. Could take a jab at those house flip charity shows that ruined the value of the house, like Goblin Contractors that make everything a circus funhouse. No, yeah, there's definitely a lot of material to work with real life real estate problems that could be addressed, if nothing else, subtly with Dungeon Flippers. Um, Another question. If there is a house dungeon that is located somewhere deep in the woods, would any of the trees of the house be based off of the cherry, weeping willow cherry tree crossbreed? Ooh, I'm I didn't know that there were crossbreeds of those two plants, but that sounds really nice. Um, in general, with forest dungeons, I do love the incorporation of trees in the design, so I think that sounds lovely. Are there weird city ordinances like they ever have to work around? I'm thinking like no gargantuan pets within city limits, or carnivorous plants must not exceed 3 feet across, etc. Yes, because I had the idea in mind of there being a handful of like quote unquote monstrous cities or cities filled with monsters, which would be very like a little bit chaotic and far as design and rules and things. So having these kind of outlandish, or not outlandish, but odd rules would probably keep the city from being burnt down or falling apart. And I do like the idea of it being incredibly arbitrary and complex. Um, Speaking of wings, where's Molly's wings? Oh yeah. The simpler the short answer is mostly I feel like having wings would throw off her silhouette, and I like the idea of them falling to their doom being always a viable option for danger. Um, but also I feel like yeah I'm not too beholden to the D&D style rendition of manticores. There are historically um, iterations of manticores without wings. I just feel like she looked better without wings on. Nothing too fancy. Um, and I guess with the idea of Molly being a little bit of a hodgepodge genetically, it wouldn't be too unimaginable for her just to simply be cursed without wings. Let's see. Lazy acronym would DOA, Dungeon Owners Association. I mean, it's not bad. Does a district of, or yeah, it does work. Dungeon Owners Association. Keep that in mind. They look like they come straight out of a fantasy book. They are beautiful. Oh, thanks. Let's see. This is some cavern, dare I say, dungeon. Oh, this is some cavern, dare I say, dungeon. I am indeed flipping. Yes, thank you, MIP. Personally, I recommend looking one up. They can come in so many colors. Wait, I forget what we're talking about. Wings, or something. Something comes in many colors. Not a question, more a random observation, but Cleveland's voice sounds like an 80s from Hercules. I love it so much. Yeah, I was talking earlier about how it wasn't really intentional so much. The actor who plays Cleveland, my friend Casey, uh, typically likes to, when he does role playing, likes to kind of lean towards that New York accent, that kind of northeastern accent, and it just so happens to sound very very much like James Woods. And no, yeah, people are digging it, and so am I. Hey there, how's the stream been? It's been good. I've been enjoying answering the questions. Honestly, in some ways, maybe it was a good thing that my Cintiq crashed and the stream itself visually isn't much because I've been talking a mile a minute trying to keep up with everyone's questions, so it's going good. Um, will Molly and Cleveland have to deal with squatters in a newly built dungeon for a celebrity customer? Ooh, yes. I do feel like that could often be a problem if they're like trying to show off a property. Well, that was kind of the idea I was going for in the pilot when Molly and Cleveland showed the Ace of Wands that tower that a wizard was living in. The idea that they weren't expecting there to be a wizard there, and he's just like happened to show up and it's like, this is my wizard tower now, um, and it put the Ace of Wands off of the whole property. So dealing with squatters or having monsters in the dungeon that they're working with will be an issue sometimes. Mr. Don Pardo, the voice of television. Yes, I've heard that before. Interesting. What kinds of insurance fraud would happen in this universe? I have a feeling a wizard could just could cast a black hole on their house and say if someone else did it. Ooh, I feel like you'd probably have to have some good magical contracts to affect and prevent certain degrees of accidents. Like I think I need to develop a magic system based purely on insurance for it to work. But I feel like that's a whole extra dimension of things dealing with homeowners insurance, um, which would be fun to delve into. I want to make sure I don't lure myself into a corner, but I do like that idea a lot. Well, you can have Molly. You can have Molly have vestigial wings to just look cuter. Just a thought. True, little wings that she could flap, and when she gets happy, would be really cute. Um, just a thought. I'm back. I don't know what I missed, but is there a way for theme to go back in time as a way to sell houses? Yes, 2 words: timeshare. So some time traveling stuff could definitely be a fun possibility. Let's see. Funnier acronym: the DOG, Dungeon Owners Guild. More fantasy and also dog funny. Ooh, yeah, the dog, the DOG. That is fun. Hello there, 2 a.m. here in Italy. Quick question. Are you interested in multilingual dub of your cartoon? I am. I've been getting completely swamped by dub emails to the point where I don't even know um, who to turn to. Also, it's tough because I feel like I would need to have better understanding of the languages dubbing. I do want to look into dubbing for sure, but it's definitely very daunting, and I'm getting a lot of emails about different language dubs, and I also want to make sure that y'all get compensated. And I don't know, it's something I need to look into, but I am not quite ready just yet. What's a creature you're excited to do on the show? Ooh, creature I'm excited to do. I mean, we haven't seen any goblins yet. I feel like always love me a good goblin. There's definitely I need to look into some. I mean, even the cast itself. I'm excited to see Emma, who's a golem, show up. Um, and harpies. Ooh, there's some fun stuff. There was already a slime, but I do love me some slime stuff. So I don't know. There's lots of fun creatures that I'm excited to see. Doo-ba-doo-doo. Any characters that might be based off certain media you are the team love when not. We love that's like an old video game example being Plants versus Zombies or something. Ooh, it could work. Nothing comes to mind too readily. I know, like obviously things like Zelda, Final Fantasy, um, and D&D are a big inspiration fantasy-wise, as well as things like Lord of the Rings. Um, Specific media beyond, I don't know. And then I'm also like, even there's even some like musicals that I wouldn't mind that I feel like have some strangely fun real estate possibilities, like Xanadu or something. Let's see. So there's some possibilities. Will Dungeon Flippers have story arcs, or will it be more like randomness each episode? I'm hoping to try and do a good balance. Like I do want to have the episodic monster of the week type scenario, but I also want to try and thread through character arcs and an overarching plot and mysteries as well. So I'm hoping to do a good balance. Do you know any mythical monsters you want to add from any mythology? Yeah, similarly, actually, yeah, I think there's something kind of like I was mentioning earlier with, I don't know, because griffins are cool. Um, what are some other ones? Satyrs I like a lot. Like, and I've always been a super big like mythology fan, and so just getting to humans are so boring. Let's have more monsters. So I'm definitely here for cracking open a bestiary and populating a world full of creatures. Let's see. Ooh, more I gotta be quicker on these questions. Let's see. Uh, let's see. Gaming that sounds like cult movies to the object of their worship to me. I think I was on some of the god stuff and worship, I think. Not too sure. Do you know any mythological monster? Oh yeah, I answered that one. Is there anyone stronger than a house flipper in the universe? I mean, there's definitely some giants and like Titanic type creatures that would probably be stronger, who could probably literally flip a dungeon. Um, there are some big strong things in the universe for sure. Um, let's see. Sorry, dungeon flipper. Magic spells leave behind a type of DNA that is unique to each spellcaster. Yeah, I like that idea of everything having every spellcaster kind of having their own vibe, their own kind of particular brand of magic. Would there be any horror elements? I mean, yeah, I think like the more gothic, like if we deal with vampires or and things like that of that nature, there'll definitely be more horror aesthetic, and it wouldn't be unreasonable for things to get spooky, and for Molly and Cleveland to get into some spooky, dangerous scenarios. in the dungeons that they flip. So there's definitely room for them to accidentally get trapped inside of a haunted house and have to try and find their way out. How much of the population of this world is human? How much is magical? Are there hybrids? Let's see. It's in my mind, it's always pretty 50-50, or at least that like there's humans. They are usually kind of out to the side, and we're dealing more with the monstrous and the magical on the regular basis. And they're definitely connection successful. Okay, want to make sure I didn't break up. Um, on that note, it is getting close to 9 o'clock, so I think I may have to say about I might call a cutoff point at 9 o'clock. But I'm gonna keep answering questions for the time being. But yeah, like werewolves are kind of a good in between of human and magical. I have to go soon. One last question: they have contracted landscapers, or do they have to have a department to do that on their own? One of the characters, Emma the Golem, is kind of their lead go-to contractor, but she often has to work with other like landscapers and other people who help them renovate. So she kind of is their go-between. Perhaps a mind goblin. Ooh, I forget the context for this, but I like the idea of a mind goblin. Um, love this series so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Thanks to the thing in the walls. Would be interested in seeing a human monster couple looking for a home. Oh, a human and monster as a couple looking for a home with different tastes. Yeah, I like that's. I always love that in like house hunters, particularly that the husband and wife have completely opposite tastes, and there's always a certain conflict between them. So yes, I do love that kind of Beauty and the Beast storyline. It's very good. Would there be one-off gags of living equipment looking for homes, like a living sword trying to find a holster? Ooh, I do like that a lot. I think we had talked earlier about like a living house wanting to be flipped or not. And similarly, like, yeah, magical swords or an amulet with a mind of its own. There's definitely some good. Those could be clients as well. Trolls, they make their own dungeons. Yes, love me a troll hiding under bridges, turning to stone by daylight sometimes. Since multiple dimensions exist, would that mean that there's lots of excuses to try different animation styles? Imagining a pixel art world. Ooh, I love that idea. In general, finding an excuse to do alternate animation styles is always a lot of fun. I may have to think of some fun excuses to do that, because that'd be great. Let's see. Is there going to be a dungeon that they get locked inside of so they have to break out of? Yes. I do really like that. A quite literal bottle episode could be them all trapped inside of a dungeon and then having to actually solve it. Would be a lot of fun. Will Cleveland have a personal goal that he would like to achieve throughout the series, like how Molly wants to rebuild her family home? Yes, Cleveland, a lot of his things is that he is a workaholic and kind of avoids introspection and kind of avoids doing much personal work. And he's kind of afraid that it's too late for him to start, and he's afraid of what he'll find within himself. So that he's got some issues that he's working through as well. And it'll be fun to figure that out. Also, will there be a fireball incident in the future? I mean, I love a well-placed fireball can really light up a room. So I am here for some more fireball incidents. Ooh, I do have a recommendation for an Italian dub group called Doppio Giocho. I'll keep that in mind. You should check them out when you get the language thing worked out. Thank you, Lucasen18. Idea, not sure if it makes sense. IRL. Dungeon flippers helping customers with their taxes for their new home, but the tax service is at war with them. Have a blessed night. Thank you. Good night to you, Zaphill. Yeah, taxes. How do they work? That could definitely be some fun. I'll have to work out all the details with some of those kind of rules and things, but there's definitely some fun legality battles that could happen, legal battles that could happen over things. Very fun stuff. Final question: would there be any guest stars appearing in the show that are decently popular on YouTube? Ooh, that'd be a lot of fun. Even since like the very conception of Dungeon Flippers, I like the idea of having celebrity clients, because there's a lot of one-off characters like who are just the monster of the week. So you could have a lot of guest stars potentially. If it became popular enough, like I would love to, yeah, have have popular people show up and do their bit and have a fun time. That would be really great. Let's see. Ooh, a lot of things. Let's see. Will we get episodes of their office? Will we see the characters' home lives? Ace of Wands, is Ace of Wands Ace? I could see him being Ace. He definitely lives by himself and doesn't have a lot of other people around. I can go ahead and say he's probably Ace. But no, yeah, the office and the home lives of the characters. No, I really like to and want to explore the different both living and working locations for the characters. And yeah, I'd love to show off the office. Next episode would be very nice. We need a Medusa and Gorgon band looking for a place. Yes, I imagine they would be favorable to stone type places. But no, yeah, I love me some Gorgons. What about a dungeon that is a portal nexus? Quite Scooby-Doo door chase scene. Ooh, yes. Some good perplexing doors and non-Euclidean designs. No, yeah, I'm definitely here for some weird and wacky dungeons. Imagine Sir Palo as a goblin or gremlin just screaming about a small home. Ooh, and that's suddenly remembering. Oh yeah, tiny homes are a thing. Good for a goblin, I would imagine. Sir Palo. Oh, I guess Sir Palo is a YouTuber. I'm not too aware of the many YouTubers, but this guy sounds like fun. I'll have to look up Sir Palo. Imagining Palo screaming about a bridge getting rusty would be hilarious. You could do a poll and see what language gets the most votes to dub. It could get narrowed down. That's a good idea. I could do a poll for language dubs and maybe do like an audition for the company. I'd say you don't need to worry about every little thing, including tax paying. Don't forget about world builder's disease. True, true. Sometimes overly detailed world building does bog me down, especially in book form. So no, yeah, play it by ear. Entertainment comes first. The pilot of Ace of Wands, the Dungeon Flipper is awesome. TV quality. Thank you, Ash. Thank you. Also, are shorts perhaps planned? People love shorts. Extra little bits of characters and it tides things over. I'm deeply considering it because the first episode did take quite a while to make, and so long as I wasn't doing crazy car chases or cart chases on the regulars, like a little short Dungeon Flippers short might be a good way of you know making continuing to tell the story in short form between episodes. So considering it. Hey, Tom G. So you're welcome. Don't mind the random Italian slip up. Good luck with Dungeon Flippers in the future. Thank you. Kirby could unironically fit right in. Eldritch being a friendship and consumer of cake. Ooh, I bet Molly and Kirby would be friends. That would be good. Imagine let's see, if y'all made a character based off that one image of a potato with a crap ton of roots going on of it, searching for a place to nest. Ooh, yeah, the scary potatoes. Let's see. Clever would be funny if they let's see if they are on a first name basis. Oh yeah, it would. Oh yeah, like Kirby and them would be great. All right, well, it's getting past 9 over here, so I think just a few more questions and I'll call it an evening. But no, yeah, like honestly, I don't think I would have been able to play Ori and answer these questions at the same time, so this kind of worked out as long as it wasn't too dull for y'all. Let's see, what are your personal favorite goals? What are your personal goals for Dungeon Flippers? What are you hoping for it to be? What do you really want to succeed at with it? Oh, that's a nice question. In general, like the premise, the premise of Dungeon Flippers is quite silly, and I do like it a lot. But I'm really hoping that we can eventually build off of this silly idea and have a really nice, fun world with interesting characters, and to be able to tell unique kind of personal stories with a very high fantasy bit of follow through. So being able to really and not necessarily be like peak drama or anything, because too much drama is kind of a lot, but to have just a really good story and having good characters and have a really fleshed out kind of world through all these fun shenanigans with these silly characters, I think is my goal. Uh, where's the soil? Will any characters try to take over homes of characters who have previously bought homes, like someone infiltrating the wizard's void home after taking it over? Ooh, I mean, I feel like there's so many great examples of real life real estate agents doing things like that, and it only makes more sense in a war-torn fantasy realm for dominant, like taking over places. It definitely would make for a good season finale type scenario. Are you planning on adding more background music in future episodes? I love the pilot. Yeah, I know. Like, let's see. A lot of the classical songs, like the Planet Suite songs and stuff, was initially just a way for me to make decent scoring without having to like pay a whole bunch of royalty fees using MIDI files of classical music. But there's also some just really good classical music, and Jake, who did the original bits of scoring, did a fantastic job. So no, yeah, I'd like to keep the quality of music up. I know the music, the singing was hit and miss for some. Let's see. For the next stream, if you can't do a gaming stream, just do a drawing stream next time. Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to go, Unknown Fool. Like, little easier. You can just doodle around and answer questions. A blessing in disguise is your stream today. Yes. Hi. Imagine our troll whose face is just the troll face. 24/7, constantly trying to annoy the main two characters. No, yeah, that would be fun. I think it makes me think of like a trickster character, like if there were a kind of Puck or Q from Star Trek who was just intentionally trying to make Molly and Cleveland miserable. Would be a lot of fun. You find a way to deal with the troll's face. True, yeah. Just put a cloth over that face. Don't have to see it. Not a question, but I'm hyped for what's about to come for the next for the Ninja Flippers. Thank you, DJ Clark. Related? Singing was fun. Arg, was that too late? I am getting close to ending, so Kiba Amadeus probably won't be too much longer, sorry. Now I'm just imagining all of the Rage comics as characters doing weird stuff. That would be a fun... Just imagining a portal to some strange realm opening and a bunch of the troll faces and stuff leaking out. Forever Alone probably just living under a rock, Patrick Star style. Yeah, I think that the Forever Alone would be as content as they could be with almost any scenario. Singing was so cute, and the Ace of Wands songs lives in my brain now. Nice. I'm thinking of actually uploading those as YouTube videos here probably this week, so you can play them on loop. Well, good to hear that people were enjoying it. Luckily, YouTube has VODs. Best show ever, randomly found. Thank you. Woo. All right, been talking nonstop for 2 hours. I think I'm gonna call it there. Well, I really appreciate everyone showing up. I didn't get a count for how many were on. I guess we got 40 watching right now. It's not bad. Final question. Is there going to be any character based off the team? Like a self-insert Alex Hirsch style, where they make fun of them. Ooh, that could be interesting. I know, like my little PNG tuber is kind of a self-insert, and I think it'd be fun to have them show up maybe. But no, yeah, I think that would be fun to just to do a little self-insert somewhere. Haven't figured out how, but no, that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up and asking questions and everything. Let's see. Thanks for the AMA. I really want to see more Dungeon Flippers. Full cheerleader mode for right now. Oh, thanks, JS Josh. But no, I couldn't ask for a more question ready crowd to show up and ask me a lot of fun questions. It's honestly given me a lot of fun ideas to work with. So I really appreciate all of your amazing ideas and everything. And you know, inspiring me to keep on at it. So thank you all so much for showing up. I'll try and get my computer situation fixed up a little bit better for next time and stuff. But thank you so much. Let's see. I guess without further ado, I'm gonna close things off. But bye bye, everybody.